our very esteemed guest of honor, all the way here from Delhi, Dr. Amisha Thakur, the main live running wire behind the NSS unit of AMU today, Professor Mohammad Mohsin Khasa, coordinator, my colleague, my dear colleague, Dr. Purato Len from the MSW department. I'm very glad to know that she's also working here as a program coordinator. I can see more coordinators, Dr. Uzair and Dr. Masood Sahab and Asif Jabhai. I'm usually, I'm surprised to see him here. I'm usually habituated of seeing him in the IICC. And my dear girls of the AMU NSS unit, I'm here to congratulate you on the International Women's Day, which the NSS unit has decided to celebrate today just for you, just for us. My pleasure knows no bounds at having this opportunity to be amidst you here today, with your coordinators and with your program officers, your teachers. I know you must be doing great work. I know because I myself have a history of around 35 years with the NSS in the Gorakhpur University, St. Andrews College, where right from age 16, 17, I remember I was one of the most enthusiastic NSS students in the college, and I have done it all like you. Of course, our unit, because it was a small college, our unit was not as grand as this, but I have done it all just like you. The day-night Rashtriya Ekta Shivir, 10 days, these Shramdan that you do, and also the Prabhat Pheri that we used to do. And presently, of course, I'm serving as an academic in the university, but at the same time, I also find my calling in volunteering for a women empowerment NGO. Dr. Uzair is with me. And we help poor women in skill development, in all life scale and other empowerment facets of their life. And I give that entire credit to my experience with the NSS. Today that I'm able to help 75 very underprivileged, marginalized women from that section gain some skills, learn about entrepreneurship, start up their own small enterprises. I think the insights I developed from the exposure that I had at the NSS. So you must be congratulating your own self at this wonderful opportunity that you have during your graduation years at being mentored by people like Professor Mohsin Khan and all your coordinators who are really helping you find your calling. Because I'm here to share with you some of my concerns about the present status of women in the society today, I have decided to entitle my small speech as what Muslim women want today. There is a lot that is said regarding this, and there is a lot that is to be bracketed in the realms of the misconstrued or the misconception. Let me put on record here that if by just granting the Muslim woman these three rights that the religion has already granted her, we can solve a lot of, we can ameliorate a lot of the plights of the Muslim women. And this is very simple. Everybody knows the right to be born. It was actually one of the causes behind the advent of the movement of the Prophet Muhammad that we wanted women, the girl child, to be born and not to be killed at the time of her birth, which was happening when he became a prophet. That's one. And let's look at two important milestones that we cover as we grow up. Our right to own property, and asking for this in a time when it's been just 100 years that we've been given the right to vote. our right to own property and our right to say yes or no in the nikah. And not take it symbolically. Like Kuratulayan was just saying, the nation and the state have given the woman the right to become the Pradhan, but then the Pradhanpati syndrome is there. She must be doing dishes inside her house, and the husband says, I am the Pradhan. Not that kind of a right to say yes or no in the nikah. The right to choose the spouse, being completely conscious of herself and the consequences of being married to the man she's going to say yes. So in principle, very simply, these are the rights that have been granted, but it's a big ask, isn't it? It's a big ask. For a woman to be able to own property, she needs to be educated. For a woman to be able to dispose of her property and make some good for herself from that property, she needs to be empowered. And what empowerment when I just said around 100 years back, we got the rights to vote. So something that has been given to us in letter also needs to be enacted in spirit, and it will be just a sign of the complete journey of empowerment that will go behind in empowering a particular girl to grow up and to be responsible for her own property. And similarly, the right to choose her spouse. You know, I have been once to one constituency during the time of the Lok Sabha elections. My Hanu was contesting a BSP seat. And for 10, 15, 20 days, on his request, some of us, sisters and cousins, we used to go to that constituency. And we used to canvass for him in the villages. So, while the men folk, they spoke to the men folk sitting outside the house. The women, my sister and I and my cousins, we were ushered inside the house to go and interact with the women of that household. So they were very welcoming, they were very, very amused by how we came all the way from Aligarh and all the way from Delhi and all the way from wherever this constituency was. I'm not naming it. And we were very warmly welcomed. They wanted to give us tea, they wanted to give us sharbat, they wanted to give us anything. But when we said, will you vote for Mr. Such and Such? All they answered was, we will vote behind the men folk. And these were girls who were actually going to school, who were going to either inter college, who were actually going to maybe a degree college close by. So that kind of liberation of the mind, which comes with a certain responsibility and a complete consciousness of taking that decision, being able to take that decision and then come what may, stand by that decision and not be afraid of falling. You know, Women's Day, many messages. One very cute message I received today was this. Empowerment is not always about winning. It's not always about being strong, because strength is not being afraid of falling. Strength is being able to stand up once again. Being able to mend yourself, being able to show up, dress up, and own up to the mistake that you may have done. To err is human. There's a beautiful Arabic quote I recently came across. Al-insanu murakkabu khata'u wal nisyan. Fine? So the woman has the right to err in her decision, and if there are consequences to bear, she will bear, and that is what strength means for her. Most of the time, as Madam Thakur was just talking, you know, within the patriarchal structure, because of security reasons, you make the bargain. Let the brother go to school. Let me sit at home. Because you think in your calculation, there is something bigger for you in this. This is not empowerment. Because always power comes with responsibility. And the first responsibility is the responsibility of yourself. If you are able to know who you are, if you are able to know what is going to keep you happy, and if you are able to stand alone and be responsible for yourself, that is what I would say is total empowerment. And this probably it holds true for the boys also. Being able to take the responsibility for yourself. The society is ready to give it to you. The society has already given you your right to be born and to be brought up in a family, your right to own property in that family, and your right to choose your spouse. It's your discretion now that needs a lot of chiseling, that needs a lot of honing, and that needs a lot of polish, which is certainly going to give you that trajectory in life which will be called of an empowered woman. I must congratulate you. You are all investing on your education. I must congratulate you. You are all coming to an institution like Aligarh Muslim University. I was so glad Dr. Amisha paid tributes to the excellent knowledge traditions of while acknowledging this land. This land certainly needs to be acknowledged. We know about a lot of illustrious women whose hard work has gone into the creation of this institution, but we also do not know about a lot of discredited women whose hard work has also gone into the building of this institution. We are very happily celebrating Sultan Jahan Begum, our first Chancellor. We are very happily celebrating a long list of alumni from the AMU. Today they are in the NASA, today they are in the UN. They have been to Sahitya Akademi Awards and Jnanpith Awards, and they have been cabinet ministers. Mohsina Kidwai was the cabinet minister. Anwara Taymoor was the first woman chief minister of Assam, and she was the first Muslim woman chief minister of anywhere in India. So we have done all that, but we also have to acknowledge the efforts of a lot of women who just left unsung and unseen. I would like to name one figure here today. Her name was Zahida. History knows her, if at all history knows her, as Zekhe Sheen. So her full name was Zahida Khatun Sherwani, and she wrote poetry. But at that time, because she was a princess of the feudal system, she was the daughter of Nawab Muzammilullah Khan Sherwani, the princess of the Bhikampur estate. She didn't have the courage to write her poetry and publish it by her name. So she went for a pen name. She called herself Muzhar, and she was writing for different periodicals coming out in Urdu. And then she took this initial, instead of Zahida Khatun Sherwani, she started publishing under the name Zekhe Sheen. All this because she didn't want her father to come to know that she writes. And her father was reading the same poems and the same articles that she was writing, but he didn't know that it's written by his daughter. So we are coming from there. We have to acknowledge the courage and the strength of such women. And although she never was a student of Aligarh Muslim University, but a prominent figure, her father was a prominent figure in Aligarh Tehreek, still they have been chancellors and pro-chancellors from that family, and he was a close associate of Sir Syed also. Zahida, in her own cage of Muslim feudalism, she developed herself as a great writer. She will be today remembered as a Sahabe Diwan Shair, because Zahida has left poetry of great repute, remarkable poetry, Urdu poetry. And this poor woman, she dies at the age of 27. She dies at the age of 27. And this poor woman couldn't even get married because feudal systems, they wanted cousins to get married amongst themselves so that family property remains within the family, so that it doesn't have to be shared with other clans, so marriages within the clan. And she was completely buried under the dust of anonymity until her sister much later discovered her diary and discovered her articles and then got them printed. So we know her for just one poetry collection, one anthology of poetry, and we know her for just one collection of her diary notes. But what a woman. I'm sure there may be many more. So let us not run after fame. Let us not run after fame. Let us serve the institution. So you have come this long journey. Of course, all of you are youngsters, but at least you have been through school and you are now in higher education. Higher education, which in this country is still meant only for the elite. What's our population? 140 plus crores. How many of us are enrolled in higher education? Just 4 crores. Students all over the country. In the 1,000 universities and the 60,000 colleges of the country. Just 4 crores. So I must say, you have won a certain part of the battle that you are in higher education. What do you need to do next? And I think, Mohsin bhai, बहुत बहादुरी की बात होती है इफ्तार के 5 मिनट पहले सुनना किसी को, इसलिए I will finish in just 5 minutes. I will say let us focus on institution building, let us focus on sisterhood, and now in the 21st century let us focus on selfhood. I don't know आज तराने का टाइम है कि नहीं है. Asrarul Haq Mijaz, who wrote your tarana, he is known for a very popular couplet in Urdu on women. I'm sure some of you would be known. तेरे माथे पे ये आंचल बहुत खूब है लेकिन तो इसका परचम बना लेती तो अच्छा था. At the same time, he is also known for very soft, mellifluous, romantic Urdu poetry. He was known as the Keats of Urdu poetry. तलते महर में फिरदौस की बनाई हो, चमने दहर में रूही चमन आ रही. He saying this for women. तलते महर में फिरदौस की बनाई हो, चमने दहर में रूही चमन आ रही हो. मैंने माना कि तुम एक रानाई हो, बिनते मेहताब हो गर्दों से उतर आई हो. I consider you as the daughter of the moon, and I consider you as somebody who is coming straight from the moon. So between these two extremes, whether you are making a pancham of your anchal or whether you are softly treading down from the moon, find yourself. This is what I am saying. The 21st century is not the century of defined paths and sandbagged intellects into silos. The 21st century is a century of selfhood. Look at Zohran Mamdani. He was in poetry, he was in rap singing, then he was in filmmaking, now he came to housing justice, and today he is a history epoch making mayor of the New York City. This is all because he was not afraid of paths being cut, he was not afraid of overlaps, and he was proud of his own self. And next I said sisterhood. औरत औरत की दुश्मन नहीं होती. सास बहू की दुश्मन नहीं होती है, बहू सास की दुश्मन नहीं होती है. Let us stand for each other and let us celebrate each other. Let us be there for each other when we need each other. And let us think of something that we can do for that underprivileged sister of ours who is just not lucky enough to be in higher education like us. So, each one teach one, something like that. The change is there, change is out there. It's just ready, waiting for one of us to adapt to that change. And finally, I will give you, this is just coming from my own personal experience-based insight. Let us build institutions. We need more institutions. The kind of empowerment this university has given to women, Muslim women, who have been the prototype of backwardness and suppression and subversiveness all over the world because of the hijab and the burqa. Even to that section of the society, one institution founded with sincerity by somebody like Sir Simeon. And today, his dream is being enacted every day by academic leaders like Mohsin Khan Sahab. So let us focus on building institutions. Our good deeds in our individuality are fine, but the impact multiplies many folds just in case we are able to build an institution. Even if it's a small book club, if you have it, see, just a small place like NSS is giving you so much mutual learning and so much strength from each other. This will be going a long way in keeping you bonded, your time here together. So even if you make a small book club, even if you bond upon something, probably you have been to some Harijan Basti during your NSS camp, you have gone for some Saksharta mission. Let this not end with your time at the NSS. Let this follow you and let this be a part of the dream that you follow. I will not, I've already recited several couplets, I will not recite anymore, except that nowadays it has become so popular that no Women's Day program ends without this Cafe Azmi nazam called Aurat. कौन कर खिलवते तन्हाई से निकलना है तुझे, उठ मेरी जान मेरे साथ ही चलना है तुझे. Thank you.